Hi everyone, Petrik here. So we have finally arrived at the last video of the year 2023, and just like last year and also the previous year before that, I will be posting an annual video, and that is the Petrik's Choice Awards. And yeah, this is the Petrik's Choice Awards 2023. Ever since last year, I have started to name this series of videos, this awards video, Petrik's Choice Awards, and I think I will stick with that because a lot of people liked it. But for those of you who don't know what this video is, well, you know that my YouTube channel is about books, about fantasy and sci-fi novels most of the time. But outside of novels, I do consume a lot of things as well as entertainment and escapism like manga, video games, TV show, anime, and movies. So today, other than books, I will be giving award on all the best thing that I have consumed within this year. I will start by giving awards to the books that I read in the year 2023 first, but this counts only new read, no reread, no second read, no third read, and all that. Only new reads. Only new books that I read for the first time in the year 2023, and then I will start talking about movies, anime, video games, and manga. So yeah, I think that's about it. Let's begin immediately, and we have a lot of categories to cover, so I will try to be brief with each category. And to kick things off, the first category will be the most surprisingly good novels. This will be for books that I did not expect I would enjoy, but as it turns out, I end up enjoying them very much. I have 3 books here. Let's start with the first one. This is Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi, an incredible horror novel. As you can probably tell, I don't read a lot of horror novels, and this is such a great standalone horror novels. Love this one, and other than Boys in the Valley, I also have And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Backman. Incredibly beautiful, heartwarming, and also at the same time super sad because this little book deals with the heavy topic of Alzheimer. Alzheimer, dementia is just terrifying. I have no other words. I hope no one will ever get that, but at the same time, I know that's unlikely. But yeah, this is a powerful reading experience. This was gifted to me by one of my patrons, and I cannot thank him enough for this. And after that, the last book in this category is Legacy of the Brightwash by Crystal Matar, a grimdark romance fantasy novel. I don't think this belongs in the romantasy subgenre, but romance is definitely evident in Legacy of the Brightwash. But this was an incredibly powerful character-driven tale, and I loved it. I haven't read the sequel yet, unfortunately, because I cannot seem to get a copy of it where I live. But Legacy of the Brightwash, the first book in the Tainted Dominion, is one of the most surprisingly good novels that I read in the year 2023. Let's move on to the second category. We have the category for the best novellas that I read in the year 2023. For this one, somehow the winners are the same as the last year winners, Fondali and also Ryan Cahill. For the Fondali's book, this is Untethered Sky by Fondali. This is a one-off standalone novel, one-off standalone novella, and yeah, this is the first time I read anything by Fondali outside of the Greenbone saga, and as predicted, as expected, I end up loving this one as well. Such a great storyteller, and also if you love animal companions, I don't think you can go wrong with reading this superb novella by Fondali. And after that, the other book that I'm going to put here is The Ice by Ryan Cahill, the newest novella. Honestly though, I feel a bit reluctant to call this a novella because it is quite big. I think, yeah, it is 200 pages long, and this is the advanced reading copy edition that I just got. Thank you so much to Ryan for sending me a copy of this. But yeah, as I said, this is one of the best novella that I read in the year 2023, and it is quite big. It definitely counts as short novel, but this one is the third piece of novella in the Bound and the Broken series. And if you have read the Bound and the Broken, this is a story about Asen, one of the most important characters in the Bound and the Broken series, and I highly recommend it if you love the series. After novella, the next category will be, of course, best short story. I have talked about this in my list of best books. The best short story that I read is The Passing of the Dragon by Ken Liu. If you are a reader, reviewer, author, or really just a reader, please read The Passing of the Dragon by Ken Liu. You can read this for free on Tor.com, and I cannot recommend this highly enough. It talks about how every art is interpreted very differently among each individual, and there is a lot of depth being included in this piece of short story. And speaking of short story, I also want to talk about the 2 best collection of short stories that I read in the year 2023, and these are the first one is The Great Change and Other Lies by Joe Abercrombie. This is a collection of 4 short stories in the world of the Age of Madness, or in the world of the First Law, but taking place behind the scenes of the Age of Madness trilogy. As expected of Joe Abercrombie's, his writing is just so easy to get into. His writing is just so suitable for me, and I love this one as well. And other than that, of course, it will have to be Jade Shards by Fornali. Again, a collection of 4 short stories, prequel short stories in the Green Bone Saga. It focused on some of the main characters of the Green Bone Saga before the events of the Green Bone Saga, but this one kind of works like a connecting short story, so in a way, I guess you can kind of count this one as a novella with 4 different POV characters. The last short story gave more details into what happened in Jade City to one of the main characters, Kaol Shea. But I am biased about this world. I am so biased about the characters inside the Green Bone Saga. Just reading about these characters again beyond Jade Legacy was more than enough for me to give them a 5 out of 5 stars rating, and that's exactly what I did. So this one is the best collection of short stories that I read this year. Again, if you have watched my list of best books of 2023, well, the next category is the best standalone. I guess you can predict what these books will be. I have 2 choices here. The first one will go to Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This is dark academia novel at its best, and I think this proves M.L. Wang is the queen of writing fantasy standalone novel. It is amazing. I don't think this is as impactful as The Sword of Kaigen, but it would be a mistake to think this was a bad book. It is certainly not the case. It is an absolutely amazing standalone novel, and I cannot wait to read more books by M.L. Wang. And other than this one, well, I have to choose Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third Secret Project novel with an interior artworks by Alia Chen, and I just love this one very much. This is a Cosmere novel inspired by Hikaru no Go, Kimi no Na wa, and Final Fantasy X. Of course, I'm going to love this. And as far as standalone goes, I think this is the best standalone novel written by Brandon Sanderson so far. Even better than Warbreaker or Elantris. Onward to the next category. This is regarding the best debut novel that I read in the year 2023. I'm going to choose 3 books here because my list of debut novels this year is kinda all over the place. This will make more sense as I progress through it. Let's start with the best debut novel that is published this year. I'm going to choose The Way of Eden by Philip Chase, the first book in the Eden trilogy. I have actually finished The Prophet of Eden, which is another great book in the Eden trilogy, but I still need to read The Return to Eden. But this one is Philip Chase's debut novel, and I think this one belongs in this category. But that's not all. How about the best debut that is not released this year that I also read within this year? Well, it goes to Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. This is the best sci-fi debut novel of all time, in my opinion. I love this one that much, and it shouldn't come as a surprise. If you have been following my channel for the past few months, The Sun Eater is really the highlight of this year for me. And other than Empire of Silence, I also want to give an honorable mention to one debut novel that is not released yet, and that is The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan. If you love The Blade itself, or The Lies of Locke Lamora, and also the humor in Kings of the Wild, I think you really should try reading The Silver Blood Promise next year. And the next category, the answer to this one is very predictable. The best new author to me. This is the first time, this year is the first time I read anything by this author, and my choices is Christopher Rocchio with the Sun Eater series. So let's move on to the next category immediately. What is the best series that I read within this year? Well, again, the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. I mean, Demon in White shared the #1 spot with The Will of the Many by James Arlington in my list of best books of 2023. But besides Demon in White, both Empire of Silence and also Howling Dark are in my list of favorite books of all time. So yeah, Rocchio scored a hat-trick with this incredible galaxy-spanning science fantasy or space opera series. Absolutely incredible. I will be reading Kingdoms of Death next month. Early next month. So yeah, not long from now. Probably about 1 or 2 weeks from now, because we are entering the year 2024 really soon. And because I was just talking about The Will of the Many, I will have to give an honorable mention to The Will of the Many, the first book in the Hierarchy series. I have read only 1 book in the series. I mean, obviously there's only 1 book out in the series so far, but I already have to give an honorable mention to this one because this series, this book is just that good. And as I said, the number one fantasy book that I read in the year 2023. And this, well, I guess this leads to the next category, the best start to a series that I've read this year. And well, it is The Wheel of the Many by James Allington, a Roman-inspired fantasy novel with a touch of Red Rising and also The Name of the Wind by Petrik. If you love revenge story, coming of age, espionage, and also, well, a fantasy book with a magical school trope, I think this is really the best one out there. The best one that I have read since The Name of the Wind by Petrik. But what if I have to choose one more book other than The Wheel of the Many? Well, I have the answer to that. The Dragonbone Chair by Ted Williams. I mean, there is no way I'm ending this awards video without talking about The Dragonbone Chair at all. This is an amazing book. I have wanted to read this book for years, and this lived up to my expectations greatly. It exceeded my expectations. The slice of life portion was just so immersive, so likable. It felt like I have been reading this book for years somehow. Like, it felt so nostalgic, even though this is the first time I'm reading The Dragonbone Chair. And the world building is just so detailed, and also Ted Williams' prose it is so beautiful, really. But that's it for the category of best start to a series that I read this year. How about best conclusion? I think I'm going to choose The Green Angel Tower, the conclusion to Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy by Ted Williams. Which, come to think of it, I guess Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy should have been in the list of best series that I read this year as well. If The Sun Eater is the best series and also the best sci-fi series that I read this year, well, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy will be my pick for the best fantasy series that I read this year. It is no longer a surprise to me why so many fantasy authors like George Martin, Brandon Sanderson, and also Petrik felt inspired by the series to write their own magnum opus. And yeah, I think it is an amazing series, really, and I look forward to reading The Last King of Wosten art next year. So we only have two more categories, and then we will move on to talk about all the other media that I consumed this year, all the other awards given to other media. And the remaining two categories are the most beautiful traditionally published fantasy books I got this year, and also the most beautiful self-published fantasy books. Let's start with the most beautiful traditionally published fantasy books first. For the first one, I'm going to mention immediately 4 books, and these are the 4 Secret Project novels by Brandon Sanderson. For the price and for its value, I think this Secret Project novels is just absolutely astounding. I mean, for $40, the original price, we have this kind of book with so many gorgeous interior artworks by different artists across 4 Secret Project novels. And here, I'm going to showcase Yumi and the Nightmare Painter just because this one has an artwork by Alia Chen, one of my favorite artists of all time, and I just love her contribution to this special edition so much. It is so beautiful. This is the first full-color interior art inside the book. So yeah, the 4 Secret Project novels first, and then, well, if you have seen my list of special editions, you will know that The Dragonbone Chair by Ted Williams is also included in the most beautiful books I got this year. I made the impulsive decision to buy this one because of the cover art and also interior artworks by Donato Giancola. And at the same time, because of Donato Giancola, this is the first time I own a Grim Oak Press book. And for years, I have seen so many people praise Grim Oak Press production, and now I understand why it is amazing. And this one in my list of the best special edition that I own right now, it actually belongs in the number 4 spot. And then the next one, well, it is Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of a Dozen Favorites, published by Amaranthine Books. And yeah, this is a letterpress printing, absolutely stunning, absolutely gorgeous, and this is the second ever letterpress printing that I got. Letterpress printing is an expensive endeavor, and the result, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised why letterpress printing is expensive now. You can feel the indent of the paper, and also this one contained interior artworks, full-color interior artworks by Manuel Sumberaj. And yeah, I look forward to reading Sherlock Holmes for the first time using this special edition. And finally, at the number 1 spot, it is also the most beautiful book that I own right now, The Blade Itself, The Curious King edition. The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I think many of you who watch my channel, you should know by now that The Blade Itself and also the First Law series is my favorite Grimdark series of all time. And The Blade Itself is the beginning of them all. To own a very premium edition of the book or the series has always been a dream for me, and Curious King has fulfilled that for me. I cannot believe that I still I still cannot believe that I own this edition. It is just surreal to me. And this one features letterpress printing. The first letterpress printing that I ever owned in my collection of books, and the cover art and the interior artworks are all done by Tommy Arnold. I think if there is a best cover art category in today's video, well, this cover art will still win the category. So yeah, I think this cover art by Tommy Arnold is spectacular. It is legendary, and there is no text to the cover art. The dust jacket with a matte finish feels very high quality, and also everything about it is just luxury, in my opinion. Screams luxury, giving the story that Joe Abercrombie has written in the First Law world the treatment that it deserves. And now let's move on to the final category, the most beautiful self-published fantasy books I got. Just like traditionally published fantasy books, I'm going to showcase more than one book, 5 books here. Let's start with Revenge by A.C. Coble. I haven't read this series yet, and I think, if I remember correctly, I did mention in this kind of award as well, the first book, A Conspiracy, as the best self-published fantasy book as well, and the most beautiful self-published fantasy book as well, one of them. And it is not, I guess it is expected that this one would appear here again. The cover art by Daniel Kamarudin, the neat design by Sean King, and then all the interior artworks by Felix Ortiz. There is no way this one is not included in this list. And also, AC Coble is responsible for handling a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, indie Kickstarter campaigns that you see this year, especially if you've been paying attention to my SFF Spotlight videos. Well, one of them actually arrived this month, and it is something super similar to the written by Ben Gelly. It is Threat of Shadows by Janice Andrews, the first book in the Keepers trilogy. And yeah, this one is beautiful. It features a red spray edges and also a hub spine, and then beautiful end paper. And then, if I'm not mistaken, we have 6 black and white interior artworks by Omer Burak Onal. Hold on, I'm going to show one of them. And as always, every time I do this, we cannot find the interior artworks. But yeah, I got it. This is one of them. Yeah, I think at the beginning of each part, we have a new artwork by Omer Onal. And here's the back and paper. And yeah, it comes with an acid-free paper and also Smithsoon binding. So I have to include this one as one of the most beautiful self-published fantasy book I got this year. And then the next one will be Of Blood and Fire, the Broken Binding Press edition. This is the naked hardcover, not the official dust jacket cover art of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. But yeah, I love this edition very much. And considering that this is only their first production of the Broken Binding Press, well, they will only get better from now on. And yeah, it has 2 fully colored interior artworks by Randy Vargas and also Felix Ortiz. This one is by Randy Vargas. And then I think we have plenty, I think about 6 interior artworks, black and white by Felix Ortiz. And also, as you can probably expect from the Broken Binding Press, it has acid-free paper, golden gilded edges, and also Smithsoon binding. Love this one as well. And for the last 2 books, they are both published by Raidmark Creative. The first one is A Mark of Kings deluxe hardcover edition, written by Bryce O'Connor and also Luke Shmilenko. This is the first deluxe edition by Raidmark Creative, and ever since this one, they have increased their production value very much. And although this is actually their deluxe hardcover edition, and don't get me wrong, this is absolutely gorgeous. It is in my list of the most beautiful self-published fantasy books I got this year, after all. But this is not my favorite publication of them, even though it is one of my favorite special editions, because my favorite of a book published by them so far, it is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. This is a limited hardcover edition priced at $65. It features cover art by Felix Ortiz, silver gilded edges, and again, acid-free paper, Smithsoon binding, and 2 interior artworks by Felix Ortiz. And also take a look at this beautiful end paper. Ta-da! Gorgeous, right? And at the back and paper, we have this beautiful, fully colored map of Duna by Sharius. Look, I'm going to read this one very soon again, because I have read The Sword of Kaigen apparently in the year 2000, 2019. So in January, which is in a week from now, or a few days from now, it will mark the 5th anniversary of the first time I read The Sword of Kaigen, and I will do my second read of The Sword of Kaigen using this absolutely gorgeous special edition. So that's it for the category of books, and now we move on to other form of entertainment. Let's start with manga first, and for this one, I will start from the most disappointing manga first, and I will choose Fire Force by Atsushi Kubo. I cannot stand this one, not gonna lie. I DNF'd it, and then I think I read it up to volume about 10 or 12 if I remember correctly, and then I just could not stand it anymore. I jumped into the final volumes already. I usually do not do this, but I simply cannot stand Fire Force. The fan service in this one, it is the case where it has actually exceeded the tolerable level. It is just too much. It is practically sickening. I think the author, you know how fan service, I still don't know why it is called fan service. The fan service is just so bad that I think the author is actually a pervert. Yeah, not gonna lie. It was that bad, and it ruined the series for me, unfortunately. And this is coming from me who actually love reading Soul Eater. There were fan service as well in Soul Eater, but I don't think it was ever as bad as the one in Fire Force. In Fire Force, it was really forced upon you. It was so bad. So yeah, this is the most disappointing manga for me. The only reason I read this one in the first place is just to find out how it actually connects us to Soul Eater. And moving on to the next category, the best ongoing manga. This means that I am already in the middle of reading the manga series, and well, I started continuing reading the manga series this year as well. And I have two picks for this one. The first one is the Vinland Saga. I keep on reading the newest chapters in the Vinland Saga, and they all are incredible as always. And then, well, Jujutsu Kaisen by Gege Akutami. I think Jujutsu Kaisen this year, well, I cannot say too much here because they are just massive spoilers, but what happened in Jujutsu Kaisen in the manga this year is absolutely insane, and I cannot imagine what will happen when the anime adaptation actually reach this stage. So yeah, I'm going to choose Jujutsu Kaisen and also Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is written by Makoto Yukimura. But moving on to the best new manga, for me, this means that I'm reading the manga series for the first time this year. I'm going to choose Sakamoto Days by Yuto Suzuki. If you love John Wick, I think you must try reading Sakamoto Days. It is more over the top, it is more insane, the power is, of course, it is a manga. It is only a matter of time before Sakamoto Days is adapted into the anime format. But yeah, it is over the top action scenes, and if you love John Wick and you love action manga, I think you must really try Sakamoto Days. It tells a story about a legendary assassin who has retired but unfortunately will have to be pulled back into the assassination world. And yeah, that's really the premise of Sakamoto Days. But it's so fun and also entertaining. The actions are great. The illustrations are superb in my opinion. I read more than 100 manga volume this year. And yeah, I think these are my picks for the best and also the most disappointing manga. And after manga, let's move on to anime. Let's start from anime show first. In total, I watch about 14 anime season. I'm going to mention it as season instead of show, and I'm going to list everything that I consume in the comment section. I'm going to pin it, and you can check out every manga, every anime, every TV show, every movie that I consume within this year. And for anime, I consume about 14 anime show, and then I will talk about anime movies after this. But for the most disappointing anime, just like manga, it is Fire Force. Again, I just cannot stand Fire Force. It is one of the worst anime and manga that I have ever experienced, and I have actually read and watched a lot of manga and anime, but this is one of the worst. The fan service, as I said, is just too much. It is sickening in my opinion. The thing is, it is so unfortunate. Fire Force could turn into something truly incredible without all this unnecessary and grotesque fan service. Really not a fan of them. But onward to the most positive one for the best anime show that I watched this year. Well, it is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and then Vinland Saga Season 2, and well, One Piece. It is, well, many people are calling this year the year of One Piece, but I will argue, although that is true, it is the year of One Piece and also the year of Jujutsu Kaisen. So many crazy things happen in the Jujutsu Kaisen, whether manga and anime, and Well, I guess the same can be said for One Piece. But I want to mention one thing here regarding Vinland Saga. I love Vinland Saga by Makoto Yukimura, but this season 2, it's just above expectations. It elevated everything about the manga, in my opinion. The music, the voice acting, the direction, it is amazing, really. And I love everything about Vinland Saga Season 2, which is quite unexpected because I thought Vinland Saga Season 1, which I thought I was going to love more than Season 2, I thought that was going to be a hitter for me, but I did, for the first time, watch Vinland Saga Season 1 this year, from the beginning to the end, and I love Season 2 so much more. I think MAPPA Studio is the right studio to adapt Vinland Saga. And well, MAPPA also did Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I cannot praise MAPPA too much here because, well, this is another topic, but MAPPA has been treating their animators really badly, in my opinion, and I think my praise will go to the animators instead. Animators and all the creators behind these amazing anime. For the best anime movies, I watched a total of 4 anime movies. I have two winners here. The first one is Violet Evergarden, the movie. And yeah, this is the first time I actually watched Violet Evergarden to the end and also watched the movie, the final movie. And the final movie is beautiful, it is powerful, emotional, and it almost made me cry. And that's something super rare for me. And then the other winner, and probably the winner for the best anime of the year for me, it is the final episode of Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan. Or what you will call Attack on Titan, the final season, part 4, and then Cur second. I don't even know what to call it, but it is the final 1 hour and 30 minutes episode. And yeah, it is the ending of the anime of Attack on Titan. 10 years in the making, and the anime somehow deliver something that is even better than the manga. And yeah, loved it very much. I think I was kept on the edge of my seat, and it was incredible, really. I cannot say anything else about this one unless I do a full review regarding Attack on Titan. But yeah, if I have to choose an anime of the year for the best anime movie, it will be Attack on Titan. So that's it for the manga and anime category. Now let's move on to talk about some movies. Apparently, ashamedly speaking, I watch only 4 movies. Yeah, this is excluding animation movie, but yeah, I watch only 4 movies. But I'm going to include one. I guess I'm going to include one animation movie here, but this is not anime. This doesn't count as anime because anime means animation made in Japan, but this one doesn't count. But for the best movies that I watched this year, Dungeons and Dragons surprisingly actually turned into something super fun, entertaining, and it made me laugh a lot, and I want a sequel to it. But my pick for the best movie of the year, and it is the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. Somehow this one exceeded Into the Spider-Verse. I have no idea how they done it, but they did it. It is even better animated, the direction was better, and I'm just completely shocked by every scene in this one. The animation here is astoundingly good. The animators, the music, everything was on point. I have no idea how the animators actually cook up something on this level. I cannot wait for the conclusion of the Spider-Verse trilogy, but this one is definitely my favorite movie of the year. For the most disappointing movie, unfortunately, it will be The Seven Kings Must Die. This is the conclusion to the Last Kingdom adaptation by Bernard Cornwell. I wouldn't call the movie was super bad per se, but it actually cut off so many content from the Last Kingdom. And to be honest, the last few novels in the Last Kingdom, in my opinion, could have been cut off, but still, seeing so many of them actually got excluded from the final movie actually was disappointing. I think there were still some rooms to include more scenes and more development for the characters before the final scene of The Last Kingdom. If you ask me about what happened in The Seven Kings Must Die already, I must say, I don't remember a lot of them. Somehow I remember the TV shows more than the Seven Kings Must Die movie. So yeah, I guess that says a lot regarding the quality of Seven Kings Must Die, even though it concludes the tale of Uhtred, the son of Uhtred. As for TV shows, I watched a total of 16 seasons across multiple TV shows, of course, and the most disappointing, it is unfortunately, it is Shadow and Bone Season 2. I cannot finish it. It was so boring, it was a mess. I'm sure the fans must be super sad over the discontinuation of the TV show adaptation, but well, for me, I don't feel like I missed out on anything because it was just so bad. I actually really enjoyed Season 1, but Season 2 is unbearable. The main character was so unlikable in Season 2. I felt so uninvested in the storyline, and this is coming from me who actually quite enjoyed reading Six of Crows, and I wanted more of the Six of Crows gang rather than the story that happens in Shadow and Bone. Not even Ben Barnes could save the show, as it's proven now. As for the best TV show that I watched, and this is tough because I have watched a lot of TV shows this year, but if I have to choose only two, well, I will have to choose Bear Season 2 and also the best of them all, the final season of Succession. Yeah, Succession, I watched the first season up to the final season this year, and it is definitely the best TV show that I watched this year. Beef was the one that I found out, Bear was the one that I found out, well, I guess Beef as well. Both of them are the one that I found out through social media, and I'm really glad that I watched them. It is a really tough choice for me to choose between Beef, Bear Season 2, and also Succession. But if I have to choose only one, Succession will win the award for the best TV show that I watched this year. Absolutely incredible, riveting, so full of twists and turns, and I think the characters, all the actors' performance were just spectacular in this show. And now we move on to the final category, and we're talking about video games. As for this one, I only managed to play 2 video games this year, and the first one is finishing The Last of Us Part 2. Somehow, I finally did it. I finally finished The Last of Us Part 2, and although I felt disappointed when we entered the second half of The Last of Us Part 2, but by the end, I must say that I'm quite surprised by how much I end up enjoying it. Such a dark tale, quite unconventional. Sometimes I think about it and I still feel quite conflicted about the results and everything that happened in The Last of Us Part 2. But for the best game of the year, my choice is God of War Ragnarok, or God of War Valhalla, the DLC, which I am playing right now. But yeah, God of War is a franchise that I love very much from the bottom of my heart. I played all of God of War games across PlayStation, PSP, and all that. And yeah, I played all of them, but still, God of War, whether it's the first God of War in PS4 or the God of War Ragnarok, I think all of them are amazing. But if I have to choose, I actually love God of War, the first one, more than God of War Ragnarok. But still, this is my favorite game of the year, which I guess for some of you is not saying a lot because I played only 2 video games this year to the end. But yeah, time is limited. Sometimes I have to decide which one I spend my time more, reading books or playing video games. And yeah, this year I decided to spend more time on reading books and creating contents for my booktube channel. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's the end of Petrik Choice Awards 2023. Do let me know what you think about my awards for this year. And also, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support this year. I've created a lot of videos this year, and quite many of them are received very positively, especially SFF Spotlight. I think SFF Spotlight is the one that took me by surprise. It has grown into something better and something that I really enjoyed making. I'm truly happy that it is beneficial to a lot of you as well. But really, I'm truly happy and thankful for all of your support. It means a lot to me, and I will do my best in the year 2024 as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support, and Happy New Year. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.